Today we're going to take this rod, which has a broken tip and a broken first guide, and I'm going to show you how to replace the tip and how to do a temporary repair on this first guide. If you're in the field and you snap it on a rock or pull your swivel through on your next cast, you pop it out, I'm going to show you how to do a quick repair that'll at least get you through your fishing session. What we're going to do is we're going to replace this tip top and the first guide. As you can see, the tip top here has been shattered, and the first guide, the insert is completely gone. So the first thing we're going to do is, for the sake of this demonstration, I have an alcohol lamp. But in reality, you can keep a simple Bic lighter in your car. You're going to heat this tip top ever so slightly. I can't stress enough. You just want to heat it a little bit at a time until you can pull this tip top off. Eventually that glue will get hot to a certain point and this will come off. If the tip was put on with 5-minute epoxy, you're going to have to use a little more heat. They're a little tougher to come off. Then I'm going to take my new tip top and I'm going to take ferrule cement, and I'm going to heat up that tip top slightly, and I'm going to heat that ferrule cement. I'm going to take that tip top and drag it through the ferrule cement so that it starts picking it up into the tube. Then I'm going to heat it up a little bit more and heat that tip top so some of that ferrule cement works its way down. That'll give you good contact, good adhesion, so that you don't have a tip top that's spinning around within 2 days. Then I'm going to take my heat source. I'm going to heat the tip a little tiny bit, the tip of the blank, just to loosen up the existing ferrule cement that's on there. Take my tip top, slide it on. Don't worry about any excess that shows up. When it cools off, you can break that right off. Now's the time you want to make sure that tip top is perfectly aligned to your guides. We let that cool, and that'll get hard. Next, we're going to replace this guide. We're going to do a temporary replacement that'll allow you to continue fishing for either the rest of the night, the rest of the weekend, the rest of the week. This will actually last you, done properly, the rest of the season. Again, we're going to take our heat source, and the Bic lighter is still good, and we're going to just heat this up a little tiny bit. And the reasoning for that is you want the razor blade to cut through this as easy as possible. Now we're going to take a razor blade, and we're going to take that blade and carefully make a slit on top of the guide. Make a slit. You don't want to go too deep, but you want to make sure that you're deep enough to cut the threads without going into the blank. And the same thing on the other side. Now as I'm making this slit, I can feel the razor going across the guide, which is what I want. Okay, sometimes if your epoxy is ridden up on the guide feet, you just run parallel and cut it back a little bit. What you want to do is be able to get this process started. Heat it up a little more. Now on this side, I didn't feel that razor goes through to the guide foot, so I heated it up just a tad, and I'm making that slice again. You just heard that pop. What happened is I made my cut, and I'm folding back. Now you can see the thread will stay on the guide so that you can peel this very neatly right back. And what it'll do is take the epoxy off along with the guide. So now I have a buildup of thread on both sides and a buildup of epoxy. So I'm going to heat that just a tad again, and I'm going to trim this down, because the only thing you're worried about at this point is getting a new guide to fit in there so that you can cleanly tape it on there. You can see what I'm doing is running parallel to the blank, and I'm just peeling off the black thread, the overwrap of black thread. Now give me more room to put my new guide in there. And I'm taking some of this excess epoxy and just trimming it down. Sliding that blade parallel to the blank. I use black electrical tape, and it's a simple matter of taking your guide, lay it in the original spot like so. You want to make sure that the eyelet is lined up. Now you're just going to take your black electrical tape, couple of wraps. Make sure you pull this nice and tight, because this will be the time you get that 50. Pull it nice and tight, a couple of wraps around. Razor blade, cut it off. Do the same thing with the other end, like so. And there you have your temporary fix. You have a little bit of play in there, enough that if your guide is off a little tiny bit, you can line it right back up without any adverse effects.